think a lot of us have been out here for multiple years, kind of gotten used to it. The summers out here are brutal, and the winters are unforgiving. You got a hose? No.
About 40 miles north of Los Angeles is the city of Lancaster. And just beyond that is where Jeff Vangari has lived for the last 9 years.
It sucks. You know, it's like fun and games.
Does he live off of a highway? I'm seeing like freeway running behind him. That's already probably annoying. He's dealing with constant vehicle noise all the time right behind him. But the fact that he can even do this is pretty wild. You know, like he's clearly been set up here for 9 years, they said. So he's set up and nobody's like come and removed him. It's not like he's super in the wilderness.
Especially being all the way out here out of town. You know, it's hard to get anywhere to get food or drink. Let's go out that way.
Vangari doesn't have a car or running water, which means whenever he can get a ride into town, he takes it.
I go usually probably once or twice a week and fill up 1 or 2 of those 55-gallon drums. Because we use it for everything, you know, bathrooms, cleaning up, dishes, cooking, everything. I think the hardest part about living out here, trying to stay out of your own head. It's not like I woke up one day and said, hey, I want to go live in the desert and make life 1,000 times more difficult for myself. Right. Circumstances led up to it, and I haven't quite figured out the circumstances that'll get me out of it yet, I guess. Okay. Good enough. Yep.
At least he seems to have a camper and motorcycles that don't work, I guess, because he has to get a ride into town and stuff. His level of homeless seems to be a little bit better off. I mean, he even has like a trimmed beard and stuff. Like, his level of homeless seems to be a lot better than like other West Coast homeless people, like on Skid Row. You know what I mean? Like, they're dealing with literally living in a tent on a city street, people robbing them, breaking in, doing horrible things to them, possibly getting killed, you know, all that stuff. Like, this is a different situation than that. Not to discount the fact that it's difficult, but it's just an observation. Like, my first observation of this is it's definitely a very different type of homelessness than your typical city homeless person.
Vangari is homeless, and out here, he's not alone.
There's
so
more!
Driving around this part of the desert, you see encampments in pretty much every direction. Some of them are larger groupings of trailers, and others are individuals out on their own with nobody around.
Hundreds of people without homes live in this part of the Mojave Desert, unincorporated land just beyond Avenue G.
Okay, so it's unincorporated land, and that's why they can't be moved and kicked out.
One of the city limits of Lancaster.
Were you ever within the city limits?
Yeah.
And why did you move out here?
Pretty much told by law enforcement that the only way not to be messed with, i.e. our camps ransacked or bulldozed or even burnt down, would be to move north of G, which G is that street right there. Law enforcement just treated us like dirt, you know, and they just wanted us out of their city.
So you feel like you were really pushed out of the city?
Not feel like we were.
More than half of all unsheltered people in the U.S. live in California. In LA County, authorities have prioritized crackdowns on encampments and sweeping homeless people off the streets and out of sight. Since they've had little to no success in addressing the root of the problem, encampments just pop up somewhere else. Lancaster is an especially tough place to be unhoused. Homeless
Okay,
people
great.
make up 1% of the population, but receive 25% of the city's citations. The mayor has called homeless people criminals and thugs, and even suggested residents arm themselves in defense.
Okay, well, that's a little bit unfair. Not all homeless people are criminals and thugs. Some are, and there's probably a higher likelihood of them being such. But there's plenty of homeless people that just fell on a hard time, and they're just trying to do what's right, or they're trying to get like meaningful, real work or whatever. And, you know, so that's definitely like a very fallacious, spurious statement, but okay.
We are not going to look like LA. We are not going to have people parked on the sidewalks.
Donnie? Hello? Hello, hello. All right, I brought over as many waters as would fit in my purse, but there's actually more.
Eve Garrow has spent years analyzing Southern California's homeless policies and police practices.
People think of banishment as some kind of archaic practice, but you ask unhoused people, and it happens to them all the time. The difference is that out here, they're being told to go deep into the Mojave Desert, and a lot of these people are very vulnerable.
And when you're talking deep into the Mojave Desert, you're talking extremely dangerous conditions. This isn't like being homeless in Skid Row in terms of weather. Homeless in Skid Row, you're worrying about other people, your like social environment. In the Mojave Desert, yeah, probably other homeless people in the Mojave Desert, you do have to worry about them to some degree, but mostly you're worried about severe cold at night and severe heat during the day. So this is a different set of challenges and hurdles for these people. Again, this is why I really was interested to even watch this video in the first place, because it's another thing that I just didn't really think about, is like different settings in which homeless people have to survive and their challenges.
You know, I mean, I worry about them surviving out here.
Most citations given to homeless people in Lancaster are for things like camping, loitering, or panhandling, infractions that the ACLU considers as criminalizing homelessness.
Who is responsible for what's happening out here?
The city of Lancaster is not friendly towards people who are unhoused. They don't treat this as a humanitarian crisis. They don't treat it as a housing crisis. They treat unhoused people as if they are criminals when their only crime is not having enough income to afford, say, a $2,000 a month, one-bedroom apartment.
Which is insane. Which is insane, by the way, $2,000 a month, one-bedroom apartment. Like, the world that we live in today is fucking insane. And more people than ever are homeless due to that fact, but also due to, there's other factors too, for sure, but that's one of a very big factor. And also, technically the word now that you're supposed to use is unhoused people, not homeless people. And this policy analyst did just remind me of that. So I'll try from here on out to use that word.
So when they came through with a bulldozer. They started over there and at the end of the way down there, and they just started sweeping everything down towards the end.
Sarah Odom lost her job and became homeless last year. 3 months ago, the city came to bulldoze the camp she was living in.
No, I'm standing my ground. I'm
No.
not gonna move. You guys have a phone? Can you record it? So as I'm arguing with public safety and the police, I decided, okay, fine. I grabbed all my stuff together and just
Threw it.
threw it over the wall because I was like, I don't want my stuff to get, it's all I kind of pretty much have left. So I just,
You didn't want it to get bulldozed.
No.
Police still do
Oh, wow. So what'd she do? She threw it over the fence, they bulldozed, and then she brought it back over the fence and set it all back up again. That's what I think she did.
regular sweeps of the area. But Odom refuses to leave.
This thing is pretty stripped from everybody kind of using it.
Oh, I see.
But you just got to really get like...
No way. She's getting water through the hydrant with a wrench. That is very smart. Killer.
good grip on it. And
Use your resources, baby.
yeah. So this is how I try not to waste too much water. California is in a drought.
Have you gotten citations?
I've gotten illegal camping tickets.
Badass.
I've gotten 4, and I fought them all in court. Because if I say that I'm guilty of illegal camping, it means I'm guilty of a crime. Being home.
Now, granted, by the way, that's definitely not drinking water, but it's water. And when you're unhoused, I suppose that is better than dying, obviously.
This is not a crime. So public safety, they're like code enforcement, right? So when they were out with law enforcement during the sweep, they are the ones that told me to my face, oh yeah, just go out in the middle of, past Avenue G. We won't bother you there. We don't bother any of you guys out there. You can go be homeless out there if you want. And I'm like,
And that means go into the desert.
that means going out into the desert where there's nothing and nothing for miles. I don't have a car. I'm walking in flip-flops as it is, and I don't want to be segregated from society. I want to get back into working, and how am I supposed to do that in an area where there's nothing for miles?
That's a very good point, guys. That's a very good point. You're unhoused. Of course you don't have a car, most likely. They want you to go out into an area of the city or the town where you can't actually walk anywhere. And if you wanted to become a part of society again by contributing, work-wise, you would have a very difficult time in doing so. That is a very good point.
I feel like it's so easy to get lost out there. They just want us gone. They want to sweep us under the rug. And I'm sorry, but I refuse to be swept under a rug.
Policing in Lancaster is handled by the LA County
Here's the other side of the coin now.
Sheriff's Department. When we reached out for this story, the local deputies declined to speak with us.
Never mind.
But the LASD did let us film with their Homeless Outreach Services team, or HOST. It's a relatively small unit, tasked with connecting homeless people to services.
Okay.
The deputies claim to have never made an arrest or used force.
So we'll get a little something.
So today we're going to do a ride-along with the homeless outreach team of the LA Sheriff's Department as I go into the desert and talk to the people living out there.
We're a humanitarian effort. We're not traditional law enforcement, and we realize traditional law enforcement doesn't work when dealing with the homeless population.
Lieutenant William Kitchen leads HOST operations in this part of the county.
How long you been out here in the desert? 5 years? Well, I think you're a beautiful young woman, and I kind of worry about you out here. How long you been out here, Bruce?
8 years.
8 years. Are you working with any homeless service provider here, out here? No? Are you struggling with anything right now? Drugs, alcohol, or anything? Good for you.
I'm playing, just working, just trying to stay. It's just hard.
If you need anything, just reach out. Cool?
Definitely nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, brother.
Do you trust the LA Sheriff's Department to help you out of your situation?
It's not so much a trust issue, because trust was taken away a long time ago. That's something that's going to take a while to be built.
Have you ever seen this team out here before?
Not like this.
Not like this.
What's different about today?
Which is because it's clearly a show for the cameras. At least they probably only sent like one person, they do a couple things, they do a little bullshit, and then they leave. Whereas they know that Vice is doing their recordings, they're doing their whole thing. So they're going to send the full team out and make a show of it. I was already thinking that myself when this first guy here was saying, "Nice to meet you." I'm like, what? He just said he's been out here for how long and you're just meeting him? A little bit strange, but okay.
Normally it's like trying to get us to do something or follow their rules or try to make something happen, or it's not like, normally like out here to help us or like, check on us. You already pushed this way out here. It's like, you wouldn't come out here and deal with this. It's like, where else can we go? And that's the big thing. It's like, what do you do? Where do you go?
So when we show up, you were out with us today. Did you feel any tension between the police and the people that were out there?
No, but we were also out there with cameras, though, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, but we're out there every day. So there's no tension. We bring the services to them where we are, and we just try to make that human connection.
Are you in touch at all with the deputies here in Lancaster who some people say are encouraging them to move out into the desert?
We are in touch with them. The local deputies who work this geographic area all the time keep in touch, and they'll call them and ask them to go to certain areas and see what the needs are.
Don't you think, though, that the local deputies could be contributing to the problem if they're advising people, as many homeless people have told us, to go outside of the city limits?
Sure, that could be the case. I don't know if the truth to it, or if someone, a deputy sheriff basically said you can't be here based on where they were.
Bruce Whittinghill lives in the desert and was approached by HOST. He agreed to be taken to Lancaster's main shelter complex.
Hi, Bruce.
So that's good, right? He wants to get put in a homeless shelter. Although, what's going to happen to this camper? Is it his camper? Is it just a camper he found? I'm confused about that. What's going to happen with all the cats? I'm confused. Maybe he lives in there with multiple people. I don't know.
Proud of you, brother.
Let's go, Bruce!
The Kensington campus is a 14-acre housing facility with 300 rooms for permanent and transitional housing. Whitting Hill was offered a spot in the temporary shelter.
How does it feel to be here now?
I've got expectations to a certain extent, and I don't feel like I'm being crowded or corralled or anything like that, or forced to be here. I'm actually happy with the fact that I've got the opportunity to be here. This gives me a little breathing time.
So what the city is offering people is long-term shelter living. Part of the model of Kensington campus is permanent supportive housing. It's filled up, and for folks like this, I don't think that's accessible either.
What is the solution?
Real housing. These policy decisions to disinvest in affordable housing go back a few decades and have been the result of neglect by all levels of government. Outreach and services will not end houselessness. Housing will end houselessness.
Now that's interesting. Now she's saying unhoused people and houselessness. Wow. I didn't even know that one. Houselessness.
What? That one's already done. I'm just gonna dig another hole over here. So, digging a trash hole, because another way that the city makes it a lot more difficult for us is if we're seen by a cop putting our trash into a dumpster, so it's actually taken to the city dump, we get ticketed and fined for it. There goes the whole little cycle, warrant and getting arrested, going to jail, and it all stems from trying to do the right thing and put our trash in the dumpster.
So now they can't put their trash in the dumpster to go to the proper landfill, which, by the way, in a previous stream YouTube night, we learned all about landfills and how they work, and how it's not just digging a hole in the ground and throwing your trash in it. That's for sure. So now these guys literally have to dig a hole and put their trash in it, which really sucks for the environment, and sucks that they have to live around that, by the way, just even just that in itself. Man.
For a lot of us, you just kind of want to be left alone, really. You know, I mean, for the most part, we try to stay out of everybody else's way. You know, I mean, really, if a homeless person isn't breaking any laws and they're not, you know, harming anybody, just leave us alone.
Do you want to get out of here?
Of course. It's just a matter of when I'll be ready.
When will you know when you're ready?
That I don't know. I'm old and tired. You know, I'm not really that old, but this desert ages you.
And that is something to be said about some unhoused people, is they actually really get attached to the lifestyle. They like having to kind of answer to no one. They kind of like not having to work and just kind of live life on their terms, even though it's difficult. Like, there is trade-offs to it for them, and they're used to it. It's what they know. So for a lot of people, like, even if you do present them with the opportunity to get housing and certain things, like, they will go back, or they just will flat out reject it, and they're not ready. And that's a very true fact. Been shown many times. I've watched multiple documentaries about homelessness. Recent ones are on houselessness, and it doesn't matter what area it is. Like, I see this repeated time and time again. So that is something to be cognizant of, is what he's saying here is true, that some people just are not ready. And maybe they won't be, you know, maybe they just kind of like where they're at